Good afternoon. We're here with Jan Braai. Oh, so this is Jan Braai. Yeah, so he's joining us today for a couple of questions we want to share with you. Also, from the get-go, I want to let you know that there's sheet hampers that's up for grabs, consisting of some Jan Braai goodies. So keep on watching, and we'll give you some more information later in the chat. Okay, so we want to kick off with some questions for you. So, question one.
Yes.
First of all, welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be here. The faint noise in the background is some Wordsworth employees are using an angle grinder to cut some. It's actually ironwood. It's not local. We're growing with Rooikrons, but they thought it would be special to have some Eysterhout from the far northwest of South Africa. Because we don't discriminate. We burn all types of wood.
Exactly. Yeah. So, first question.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about the man behind the books. Like where did it all start?
Yeah, so the man behind the books is the guy that picks it up. He looks at the book usually at the back cover. I'm the one in front of the book on the front cover, Jan Braai. And it all started in terms of my braai career. So for the first 20 or 25 years of my life, I've braaied as much as anybody else. And then in 2005, I started the National Braai Day Initiative. That's of course on 24 September every year, so about 3 weeks from now. So one day a year where the whole country unites around fires to share and celebrate our heritage and to wave our national flag, the prettiest flag in the world. So National Braai Day is South Africa's national day of celebration, and similar to St. Patrick's Day in Ireland, or Thanksgiving in the US, or Australia Day or Bastille Day. And that's how I recently became a public figure. I don't consider myself a celebrity. I'm not a guy for red carpet events. And obviously through the years as National Braai Day became more prominent, and I did more tours and promotional activities around the country and the world. Wherever I go, I braai. So everybody has a special trick, and wherever I braai, people tell me their special tricks. So now, 20 years down the road, I think I know more than most, if not more than everybody else in South Africa about braaiing, because everybody tells me their trick. So now I know everybody's tricks, and that's where my real name is Jan. My real surname is not Braai, but when I joined Twitter in 2000, which is now known as X, then you needed a handle on Twitter, and my handle on Twitter was then Jan Braai. Jan, the guy from National Braai Day. And then people started calling me Jan Braai, and there's a nice ring to it. I like it. So that's now my public name. Yes.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Okay, so question 2 is, what inspired you to channel your love for braaiing to create a kids book?
Yeah, so National Braai Day started in 2005. So this year, September 24th, it will be the 19th time South Africa celebrates and observes National Braai Day. Next year, the 20th year. So you starting to get a generation of adults who were born at the time of Braai Day, like myself and yourself. When we were kids, Braai Day didn't exist. But for some people now who are becoming adults, their whole lives, this has been normal. Braai Day has forever been there because it's been there since they were born. So now you're going to start getting kids born into parents who've also celebrated Braai Day their lives. So you're getting a whole generation for which Braai Day is completely normal, and that has always been a goal of mine, to make Braai Day that type of thing where it's longevity. Why are we braaiing? Because that's what we did as kids with our parents.
Exactly.
So now we've got a generation where I think let's teach them from the start how to braai properly, and this is to the benefit of all of us, because if everybody braais better, then all of us will eat them. Yeah, so that's really, I guess, the motivation for Jan Braai Junior is to say, let's write a book with all of the basic principles and teach this whole generation of South Africans how to braai properly from the start. And so this book is aimed at the youth, But I think it's a very good book for most people to read because then you will know all the basics of how to braai.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of, like, for instance, growing up in an Afrikaans family, my mom would have the recipe book, and then she would put in, Oma put in Mrs. Ball into some recipe, and then she puts it down, and then she gives it to, the eldest daughter, and then it can pass on.
Yes.
So this could be, I think, a start, maybe.
Absolutely.
That you can also then pass on.
Yeah, I think you're making a good point in terms of passing on this book to future generations. But we should have a word with the publisher to maybe print the book in less good quality. So if you get a first edition, I think if we can just lower the quality of the book so that people have to buy new books. Yeah, that I can make money.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I make money once and never again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But by all means, if the book lasts, pass it on.
So, did you ever see yourself as an author, like
Yes.
putting down words into writing anything?
Absolutely. My grandfather was an author, so I think for me the context wasn't a foreign idea to one day write a book. Until Braai Day, and then consequently of Braai Day, or as a consequence of Braai Day, Jan Braai, that book happened to be a braai cookbook, how to braai. And the first one was fireworks, then Red Hot, then Democratic Republic of Braai, then cheese and yama, a vegetarian option, and then burgers and braai, and now Jan Braai Junior. Oh, and then there's the infant book as well, my first Jan Braai book. So the topic of the books is now braai centered, but before Braai Day existed and my life took this unique turn, I always thought that the book that I write will simply be called The World According to Jan, and more like a philosophical book in the style of a Milan Kundera book, on simply my thoughts on the world and how it can operate better.
I kind of feel like that can still happen.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah. So
happen.
again, the publisher, we should definitely speak to them. So you publish many titles around the years, as you just mentioned. Is there any favorite recipes that you created, or you can think of that kind of would stand out?
Yes. So I would say my favorite recipes are all of the recipes in this new book, Jan Braai Junior.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, over the years, in the 6 adult books, and not all the recipes make it into the book, so also 13 seasons of traveling the world and making TV shows, developing recipes for the website or for social media. So, thousands of recipes. And then if you're saying, what do you think we should teach the youth? What is the most important, best recipes to teach kids or anybody? And you're condensing that into one book. So, logically, if I had more favorite recipes than the ones that I put in this book, then I'd be stupid or dishonest. Why would I not put that in the kids' book? Yeah. If I can highlight specifically 2 recipes in Jan Braai Junior that I think epitomizes what I'm trying to say, is the roasted cook recipe, that I think is significantly better than any other roasted cook recipe I've ever written, because to knead dough is an effort, and I don't think a 10-year-old kid has necessarily the muscle, the kilowatts in their arms to properly knead dough.
Yeah.
So it's stupid to say knead the dough until it becomes one pliable piece, when you know for a fact the kid cannot actually do that. So you solve this problem by hydrating the flour more, so there's more water in relation to the flour. Then you can just mix it with your hand or a spoon until it comes together. Then you just add an extra half an hour, whatever, to let the dough rise. And then you just add more flour to the bottom and the top of it when you're forming the roasted cook. And now you're making roasted cook easier. It's better hydrated. And I think it's a better roasted cook recipe than the previous versions of my book, because writing this book forced me to say, how do we make this super easy yet amazing? Because it's not, we're not trying to make hot dogs, with cheap pianos. We're trying to make amazing food where the kid will make food and the whole family will enjoy it. It's not a case of you're not messing with ingredients and wasting money, so you're buying it to keep your kid just busy. It will keep the kid busy, but it will also mean the whole family eats great food. So that's the one, and then the other one is the chicken potjie. I think a lot of people are scared of making potjie. When I say people, adults.
Yeah.
Whereas, again, here I said, how can we simplify this with very easy ingredients that you can buy in any supermarket in the country, and also the steps make it absolutely foolproof, and yet get a great potjie meal. So if you internalize this one chicken potjie recipe in Jan Braai Junior, and that's the only potjie you ever make for the rest of your life, you're still going to be able to make a great potjie for the rest of your life. Like, you're going to nail it every time. So these are my favorite recipes, the ones in this book.
Brilliant. That's brilliant. So, is there anything that you're working on, any projects that you're working on that we can look forward to at this point?
In my personal life, I'm working to get running fit again. I haven't run for a few months. So I'm just going to mention it in public. I did 10 kilometers on the promenade this morning. I'm quite proud of it.
Well,
that's why I'm saying it. It would be stupid to say stuff you're not proud of, right? What are we working on? We're always working on something. In terms of product development, there's obviously Jan Braai boerewors at Food Lovers Market. There's 7 different lines at the moment. The newest one is currywors. So think of the greatest bobotie you've had in your life in the form of boerewors.
That's amazing.
So I'm working on getting that on the shelves of every Food Lovers.
Okay.
We're also going to braai some Jan Braai original here. The best boerewors in the world. And then in terms of the condiments, Jan Braai salts and sauces, and that's a constant, day-to-day thing, is quality control to make sure that the stuff that sits on the shelf is amazing.
But do you have like let's call it like a Jan lab that you're working out of your kitchen?
No, I work with professionals. So typically we work in food labs. So I usually wear those ugly little hair nets and the funny blue plastic covers on my shoes, and everybody else wear proper white lab coats. So when I do product development, it's always with food science people that actually studied, and they didn't do anything else. They sit in the lab.
Okay.
But it's a wonderful privilege to go into these food labs, and play around and develop cool stuff to try.
Okay, that's cool. So, we had a couple of questions from we were putting this together from other people, and they wanted to know what is your go-to recipe for picky eaters.
For picky eaters, braai bread. I mean, everybody loves a braai bread. Yeah, that's the easy one.
Okay.
Definitely braai bread. And obviously, if you're super picky, then you would say you don't want all of the ingredients of a braai bread. So traditional braai bread, the butter is always on the outside. You make it with sliced, normal white toasted bread. And on the inside, you have grated cheddar cheese, and you have chutney, and you have tomato, and you have onion and salted pepper. And then sometimes you get the uber picky, and they would then want their braai bread without one of these ingredients, and then you cut the corner, and that's obviously the internationally accepted South African sign of somebody who's super picky, is a cut corner on a braai bread.
When it comes to quick and easy,
jeez, I might be answering braai bread every time, but the other one would definitely be Jan Braai boerewors in a roll. So the quality of Jan Braai boerewors is not just the spices, it's also the meat block. So it's 70% lean beef, and then 15% pork neck and 15% pork belly. So it's just fundamentally better than any other boerewors, because it's not that we use whatever is left over. You make it from scratch every day with a great selection of meat. So if you want to make life easy, just buy that boerewors and braai it for 8 minutes in total and put it in a soft roll. But buy that, like the cheapest rubbish bread roll that you can find, because basically we just win. It's a vehicle to get the boerewors into your mouth and just to catch like the bit of juices that drip out. So don't buy bread that is substantial. because you actually want to eat the boerewors.
Boerewors, exactly. First time briars.
Yes.
So what would be the go-to? Again,
Jan Braai boerewors, because you genuinely only have to turn it once. It's impossible to burn it because there's no sugar or starch. There's no marinade or sauce or anything on it. Like, I mean, if you ever manage to burn my wors, also there's no kidney fat or soya or it's really tough to mess it up. 4 minutes on the one side, turn it once, 4 minutes on the other side. I think the braai is easy. It's making a fire that people struggle with. So, and my advice to make a fire is firstly dry wood. It's easier than wet wood. And then lots of fire lighters, those white blocks of paraffin soaked stuff.
Yeah.
Just use lots and then you've got a fire. Yeah. And once you've got a fire, then it's like a very ancient thing for millions of years that fire, the wood turns into coals. So then you sort it and then you can dry. Yeah.
Okay, then the last one from I'm going to say our viewers or
Yes, the peanut gallery.
The peanut gallery.
Yeah.
A classic must-try dish.
Ooh, I think the chicken wings in the book is going to change your. Yeah, it's a great recipe, and it's like all of the recipes in Jan Braai Junior. It's easy, but I also think it's the type of recipe that's going to change your braai behavior because you're suddenly going to be able to braai amazing chicken wings. So it will be part of your normal repertoire because you know you're going to nail it and it's going to be exceptional. So instead of buying marinated or spiced wings, just buy the cheapest normal chicken wings with nothing on them. And don't go straight to the braai. You first add them into your potjie. The recipe is obviously in the book. But and then you adding the ingredients of what would have been the basting or the marinade with the wings into a potjie. You can do this. Can be a cast iron potjie on your fire, or it can just be a pot in the kitchen when there's not load shedding. And then you simmer the wings for half an hour in the sauce. So now they cook completely through because often wings would be burnt on the outside but still raw on the bone. But now it's cooked all the way through. It's completely tender, falling off the bone. And then you take it out of the potjie. And now it's also obviously drenched with the sauce.
Yes.
And now you just hot coals, 3 minutes on one side. Yeah, just until there's caramelization and the sizzle on the sauce. And you've got great chicken wings.
Okay. Okay. Definitely. I think we have to do it with our next braai. Wordsworth team. I think we need to do that.
Wordsworth wings. It also has a ring. I like alliteration like the double W.
Now, if you had to choose a classic braai side,
Yes,
do you have any favorites?
absolutely.
Besides the braai bread.
Besides, yeah. Obviously, putupap, millipap, maize porridge. Yeah. The recipe is in Jan Braai Junior. So that would be barring braai broodjies and then cold baked potatoes. So you wrap up the potatoes in foil with a bit of salt and a bit of olive oil, chuck it into the fire. That's super easy and super affordable. And then millies, corn that you just braai on the grid and some salted butter on the end. And then obviously if you're doing putu, you want to make chakalaka with it as well, which is the greatest sauce in the world. So those would be my classic. And then potato salad. And the way that I've treated potato salad in Jan Braai Junior, because in potato salad, everybody has their opinion of the perfect condiments to add into a potato salad.
Yeah.
But there's no general agreement on what those perfect condiments are to add in, or extra toppings or whatever. So the suggestion in the book and the way that I'm treating it for families, especially with younger kids as well, is you make a base potato salad. So boiled potatoes with some mayonnaise and a bit of full cream yogurt, and that's your base potato salad, and that should sit center in the table. And then you've got smaller bowls with a bit of chopped cheese and gherkins and onion and spring onion and radishes and everything else that you might want in the potato salad. And then it's a bit of a build your own potato salad. So now everybody on the table can have the potato salad that they consider to be the perfect potato salad.
Okay.
Similar to our upmarket hotel, the muesli buffet, where it's not going to be a premix.
Yeah.
Because I want sesame seeds and you maybe want linseeds or whatever in your muesli.
Yeah.
And you mix your own.
Okay, because I was when so this was actually the last question I was going to bring in, specifically about the potato salad.
Oh.
The the kind of like the list of ingredients to add, and we were like, okay, so yogurt. Why? Because I would never have done it.
Well, if you only have
But
mayonnaise, then
it's
it's too mayonnaise-y. No?
Yeah,
It's overly
exactly.
tangy. So you've got to break the tanginess of the mayonnaise with a bit of yogurt, and the yogurt adds creaminess and tartness.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But that's
don't go just mayo. Add a bit of yogurt, and then obviously if you from north of the Karoo, then you can also add a bit of condensed milk. But just a touch, don't go same ratio as the yogurt and the mayonnaise. So say for half a cup of mayo, you go like a tablespoon of condensed milk. Yeah, or just don't.
okay, but now I'll definitely keep that in mind that you can actually put everything separately in relation to. And like you say, it's kind of like
also looks great.
True. Very, very true.
And it's a great excuse to buy like those colorful little bowls. Or you've already bought them, but you don't know what to do with them.
You can use them.
Yeah. Imagine that you're a food stylist and make potato salad.
Yeah, that is basically all the questions that I have for you today.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much for joining us again. And
That's it.
everyone, thank you very, very much for joining us also online. Do we still have time to go on a little bit further? No?
We do.
We do? Or
We can do that.
okay. So my director behind the camera just reminded me we've still got the giveaway. So it's to Jan Braai hackers that we're giving away. I think they will put more details after we finish here on our social channels. But again, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope to engage with you on our social channels even further. So, thanks so much. Bye.
Good night.